What is up? This is the Chig coming at you with another Diablo 4 video. Today we're going to be talking about the sorcerer, and whether or not you should play that for Diablo Season 1, and kind of why and why not. But before we get started, go and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget, we are giving away a copy of Diablo 4 or a video game of your choice as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers. Also, don't forget to come hang out over on Twitch, twitch.tv/thechig. Anyway, let's hop right into it. As you can see here, I am doing a little bit of a baby nightmare dungeon. They're, 6, 7 levels above me or whatever, and I'm just rolling through it. I have 0 aspects and stuff on my wizard, so I'm slacking a little bit. But let's talk about why you would play the Sorc. So, first things first, do you want to be a spellcaster? Do you want to be a glass cannon? Do you want to have high mobility? Do you want to be a nuke? Like, all of those questions are questions to ask yourself, and they're all really valid and really strong. The Sorc struggles a little bit in some places. We'll talk about that in the cons section, but as far as the fantasy goes, it's there. Each different element has a build that's fun and works. There are some that are better than others, obviously, but a lot of them are really dependent on the items and stuff that you get. So, that being said, if you want to be a caster, here are some of the pros to being a caster in Diablo 4. So, if you want to be a sorceress or sorcerer, you are going to get to roll through and have a pretty easy early game. One of the best outdoor builds and best low dungeon builds is the firewall Sorc build, which is really, really easy to play. You just put the firewalls on the ground, things blow up with the fireball enchantment, and it's super easy to keep things rolling. You almost never run out of mana. You stay healthy because you heal per thing you have on fire. Like, there's a lot of different things to making it a lot easier to level than people give it credit for. That's also a really good build to start out early nightmare dungeons with. However, it starts to fall off once the monsters start to get a lot of HP. Besides that, another pro to the sorceress is you are a crowd control machine. You CC the crap out of things all the time. You hold things still. You freeze them. You slow them. You just, man, like if you're a blizzard, you literally freeze and slow things to the point of you hardly ever get touched as long as you're playing it properly. Probably the last pro I'm going to go over in this video is that when you are playing a sorceress or sorcerer, you are just pumping damage. It's really, really good for group play. Like, if you bring a special build, like if you set your sorceress up to be the boss killer, people are going to love having you in the group because you're going to delete bosses with the Arch Shards build. If you set your sorceress up to be a trash killer and you bring Blizzard, people are going to love you because you're just going to be deleting everything. You're just not going to be the strongest single target. Like, if you specialize your sorcerer into a certain style of play, something that you want to accomplish, you are going to be successful, especially if you have friends to play with. It's still a really good solo class. Obviously, it struggles in some points, but excels in others, just like every other class. Very few classes are all around good. The cons. The cons are it is squishy. That's the biggest thing. It is a squishy class. I die a lot. You are definitely the epitome of glass cannon. It is difficult to stay alive in some situations. It is difficult to put yourself in positions where you even have the opportunity to stay alive. That being said, you can build a little tankier and you can keep yourself alive a little better, but most of your bar is going to be used for defensive spells, and that's just the cut and dry of it. That's the option you have. The other con is you have to wait on mana regeneration. Obviously, later game, it's not as big of a deal, but early on in the game, your mana regeneration is a pain, and it remains a pain for a very long time. I am not even to the point yet where mana generation for me is not a pain, and I am level 51. So I'm not sure at what point it turns a corner. I have friends who play Sorcs that say it does finally turn a corner, but I don't know when that is. So that is something to be mindful of. Another con of the class is something I talked about as a pro. You have a ton of damage, but that's really all you got. You don't really have any group utility. You have some CC, you have some damage, but other than that, that's it. So if the mobs live long enough to not be CC'd to death, or if you having huge damage isn't enough to offset the difficulty of the content that you're in, then you kind of start to fall off, which is kind of a disheartening thing to think about, but it is the reality of the situation. But overall, I would say that this class is amazing. It is a lot of fun. My favorite build is an off-meta build with the firewall. I really enjoy the slow, methodical burn, putting things onto the ground, kiting people through it, running through it myself to get move speed increases. Like, I enjoy all of those aspects of it. There are a couple of different builds that are viable that work out in the end game, and you do have a little bit of variety. So I would definitely recommend playing this class if you want to be the caster, because this is definitely fitting that role in this game, and it definitely does a really good job. Just like every other class in the game, it could use some work, but it is definitely killing it, and it would be a lot of fun if that is the fantasy you're going for. Anyway, I'm going to cut this one off here. I will see you guys in Sanctuary, and see you in the next one.